Assalamu alaikum, my name is Sajjad Shehzad. Today in this video we are gonna do writer's effect. So let's get started. This is the passage and we have to choose 4 words from each paragraph and we have to write the writer's effect. First I'm gonna read this passage. So let's get started. Passage A. Walk on the wild side. Thousands of people a year ago through hiking along the Appalachian Trail. This feat of endurance takes about 6 months and hikers need immense mental and physical strength to complete the 3,500-kilometer journey. Bo was bored with his comfortable life and decided to challenge himself by hiking the trail alone. Bo started at his brand new backpack and wondered how everything would fit in. A change of clothes, a super light sleeping bag, and a tiny tent would make up most of the space, leaving just enough room for some dry food, water purification tablets, and some rudimentary cooking equipment. Now that the day had arrived, his stomach was churning with nerves. Bo wasn't unfit, but he would never hike alone before. He wondered if successful hikers were city kids like him, more used to traffic than birdsong. He would read all the advice about arranging for food parcels in small towns along the route, and his family would ensure that he could pick up money at regular intervals. He'd even planned the occasional break in hotels, so he would shower and sleep in a real bed. The experts stressed the importance of regular rest days, but Bo was still scared of all the things that could go wrong. Dangerous wild creatures, poisonous plants, a careless slip down a rocky slope, and nobody to call for help. A mobile phone would be useless. This wilderness would be too remote for any signal. Taking a deep breath, Bo hoisted the heavy pack onto his back and started walking. Within half an hour, he would spotted the first white trail marker and stepped on the pathway that would be central to his life for the next 6 months. He could even see another hiker climbing up a distant slope, their fluorescent jacket vivid against the vista of greenery. It was probably an expert, judging by their smooth progress. Bo wondered again why he hadn't tried a shorter trail first. Soon he was surrounded by ancient forest, footsteps muffled by centuries of discarded leaves. Myths of terrifying forest guardians suddenly seemed much more plausible as the endless acres of trees stood watch, stern sentinels of the trail. The silence was spellbinding as Bo crept onwards, down an almost subterranean tunnel of primeval greenery. Forwards, always forwards, an intruder in a magical garden. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the trees thinned out again and Bo was able to see the distant blue-green of the mountain ranges ahead. He felt calmer, more resolved, and very hungry. Resting for a moment, he ate an energy bar and filled his flask from a nearby stream, adding a water purification tablet. He also carried an emergency water filter. Unsanitary water was a much bigger danger than any accident. Bo's feet were a little sore, but he had good thick socks to avoid blisters. He'd have to wash them out every evening and hope they would dry. Finishing his sparse meal, he set off again. Bo hoped to do at least 20 kilometers a day and knew he wouldn't pitch camp until at least dusk. if he wanted to hit his target. The other hiker had disappeared, but Bo wasn't too troubled by the solitude, not while the sun was shining anyway. Hours later, Bo crawled into his hastily erected tent and stretched out his aching limbs. Night had fallen, and Bo suddenly felt vulnerable. He hadn't seen a living soul for hours, apart from the occasional glimpse of a deer bounding away. No people, no civilization, no alternative. He crept into a sleeping bag and closed his eyes, wishing he could wake up and be back in his safe and comfortable bedroom. So, this was the passage, and now we are going to do the writer's effect. So let's get started. Now the question is, reread the descriptions of Bo's reaction to the sudden noise in the paragraph 8. The forest in paragraph 4, beginning soon he was surrounded by, and Bo's reaction to the sudden noise in paragraph 8, beginning was it minutes or hours later. Select 4 powerful words or phrases from each paragraph. Explain how each word or phrase is used effectively in the context. So, paragraph creates an overall effect of traveling back in time into a mysterious and magical realm. The phrase ancient forest shows that both traveled into an old forested place which has been in existence longer than can be quantified. It shows us that the place was old enough and it was heavily forested, which was no longer in existence. It was extinct. It was no longer a forest in present time. Then the writer shows, after using the phrase centuries of discarded leaves, that something mysterious was about to happen, and an unknown creature was moving towards Bo. But it was stopped by piles of leaves accumulated over time. The phrase suggests that the age of place is stressed. The phrase myths of terrifying forest guardians reminds us of primitive superstitions and fantasy stories which contain the characters like mystical beasts or quests or creatures of legend and fable. Then the writer uses the phrase intruder in a magical garden, which suggests the awareness or sensation of Bo's trespassing into a restricted area. It gives us the feeling that Bo shouldn't be there, or he was not supposed to be there, but he was. It also shows the place where Bo was, a forest which has been cultivated by supernatural or mystical force. Paragraph 8. Paragraph 8 creates the sense of threat and danger. The general effect is of Bo's imagination of running wild and humorous exaggeration of his fears. The phrase loud as a gunshot shows us an imaginary image of danger and loud, unbearable sound or shout. It gives us the feeling of being startled like a prey being hunted down. Then the phrase snapped him to the attention suggests that the Bo was shocked and something mysterious caught his awareness. It shows us that he reacted instantaneously, or he was suddenly hyper-aware. It also shows the way Bo was exaggerating about his fears. The phrase ear straining reveals to us how Bo was conscious. This phrase suggests us the sensation of fear and tension of both were so conscious that he was trying to cast even the slightest noise or sound. The phrase devour him in one gulp shows that Bo was going to be eaten by a hungry beast. This phrase suggests the sensation of being eaten greedily or voraciously. It creates an image of being got down in one mouthful by a ferocious wolf. On this account, both were shivering with fear as he was going to be dead soon. That's all for today. If you liked my video, please subscribe my video and share to my friends. Thanks for watching.